Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, the other bit of headlining news today, House Republicans set to vote on repealing the health care reform law. Joining us from Washington is Congressman Schock of Illinois. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Lori. Good to be with you.
All right, so knowing the president full well will veto any congressional repeal of the Affordable Care Act, what message are you trying to send to Americans about health care?
Well, we've learned a few things since the last vote in the House. First of all, we've learned that despite the president's pledge that if you like your health care coverage, you're going to be able to keep it, after the Democrats passed this law, we've been able to read it, as Nancy Pelosi asked us all to do. And amazingly, what we're finding is that it's bad, bad, and bad. Not only will Americans not be able to afford health insurance under this law, the Congressional Budget Office came out 2 weeks ago and said, oops, 20 million Americans will now lose their health insurance if this law stands because businesses are not going to be able to afford adequate health care coverage under this law. Second, we learned that the bill is not a bargain of $900 billion, as Nancy Pelosi said, but Congressional Budget Office has now updated their figures and said, oops, over the next 10 years, it's now going to cost $1.8 trillion for Obamacare, twice
so, Congressman,
as expensive.
Let me come in here. I understand where you're going with this, but there's politics involved as well. And is this largely a message from House Republicans saying, look, the individual mandate, it is a tax, an additional tax on this weak economy. So when you guys implement, Democrats, Senate Democrats, Democrats across the board, this Affordable Care Act, and you realize, to your point right now, that it's likely going to cost more than you're expecting it to right now, don't come back to House Republicans looking for more.
Exactly. And, well, my third point was going to be the Supreme Court declared it was a huge tax increase. And the president has said no tax increase on households below $250,000. In fact, 75% of all the people that will be paying the tax in this bill are households of about $120,000 and less, far below the president's threshold of $250,000. They're going to carry the burden. So, to your point, some would argue that this is politics. It's actually policy, and it's what we're elected to do. I can't be blamed for the Senate's inaction, just as the fact that we've passed a budget the last 2 years here in the House of Representatives. That would suggest perhaps the House shouldn't bother passing a budget if the Senate's not going to pass the budget.
All right, quickly,
Look,
I don't have a ton of time here, Congressman, and I just want to get your ideas quickly here. You're on the record saying you're looking to improve health care delivery, access, and cost in a prudent and cost-effective manner that doesn't increase government or diminish freedom. Look, most Democrats would agree with that, right? So what are the specifics? Again, I only have a couple of seconds here, but I want to get your ideas for specific reform.
I'm glad you're asking that point because, of course, Democrats claim we don't have ideas. The reality is the House Republicans put forward and the House voted on the Republicans' alternative to health care right before Obamacare passed, and it was allowing people to purchase insurance across state lines. Tort reform, which every medical expert will agree you have to have tort reform if you're going to drive down health care costs, giving individuals the same deductibility as corporations have to control their own health care dollars. Individuals are the best consumers when it comes to driving down health care costs.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Congressman Schock. We'd love to invite you back when we have a little more time.
It's great to be with you.
U.S. crops getting hit